Okay, so I finally got Joel and Ellie, and the Spin Master PlayStation Collection is probably like the best idea a toy company has had for a long time, but of course they just had to muck it up and make them true 6-inch scale, and that's just too small for a lot of displays. So while I like these figures, I think they could be a little bit bigger, and they could also have use a little bit more detailing. Aloy was really, really good, but then the paint apps on the other figures seem to be a little bit lackluster. So for starters, we're gonna start with Ellie, and like, these articulation cuts aren't good. I think if you have this joint here, then you really don't need this to further muck it up. I don't know. The face could also use a little bit extra paint. She looks a little bit too pink. The eyebrows are a little bit too thick. But I mean, I see some potential. So what I did is I have this Leia body, and as you can see, it's a little bit rough, and that's because I've actually prepped it by shaving down a lot of the like mass on it, like here, so the arms can go fully straight down, and I've thinned out the legs a little bit. And that's because I actually bought the Limb Toys clothes for these figures. Limb Toys made some third-party Last of Us figures, but they're also really, really expensive. But I managed to find the clothes for pretty cheap. So my idea is to just kind of use these soft goods clothes and put them on this body, and then I'm gonna have to do some work with the joint here, but yeah, we'll see just where we end up. And I am going to try to put the panels on right now. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be a little bit difficult because I assume the legs are a little bit too thick. So I managed to get the clothes on the Leia body, and I mean, it looks alright. However, I removed the head, and it's too small. So back to the drawing board, I guess. So idea number 2 is simply to put this shirt on top of this body, but while I'm at it, I might as well try to improve the articulation a little bit. So the articulation on these arms here aren't actually terrible, but it's also, I could go for double joints now, because you're not going to see the elbows anyway, so I might as well just try to heat them up and see if I can switch these joints here. So if we're super lucky, this will just be a quick little plug, tug like so, and then we can just force in the arm like that, and it's really floppy crap. So what do we do? I don't really see why it's so floppy, because it's like the same size. Unless this has suddenly become really floppy too. No, it hasn't. So why is this so... Oh yeah, it's because the stem on this one is a lot thicker. Okay, so what if we just see what we're working with here on the swivel? So heat it up, and... Okay, so unfortunately, they have to make it as difficult for me as possible, because if it was like a peg coming out here, all I would have to do is kind of modify this a little bit and drill a hole, but now they've decided to make it really annoying for me, so maybe let's plug this back in. Okay, so how does the articulation... I mean, I could just kind of cut around and create some more space. Like, you're not gonna see the arm anyway, so... You know what, I don't really feel like making this too complicated for myself, so what we'll do is we'll simply cut away some plastic here. Make the arm able to bend even more. Like, compare. And we can also compensate and remove some plastic here. Like, this is pretty good. More so than... Yeah. So the articulation is greatly improved. Does it look good? No. But will I ever see this again? No. Shirt time. Hopefully this is gonna look good. So I got this shirt on and it was an absolute nightmare, but unfortunately I'm gonna have to remove it again because you see like the shoulder area, it's just sticking up a little bit too much because it's not really made to have an overlay. So I'm gonna have to take some plastic away from the shoulders here, and I also want to maybe change something here because it kind of bunches up a little bit and I can't get the arms to like lay flat. So yeah, gonna have to remove everything again and suffer. So as you can see, I've sanded the absolute living hell out of everything. So now it's time to clean up, and I'm gonna remove like the big chunks with my knife here, just lightly grazing it over the surface, and then we'll use sandpaper to just clean everything up. Okay, so the major thing that's off about the skin tone is that it's just too red. So I'm going in with my kind of trademark Cadian flesh tone mixed with white, and we're just gonna cover up the entire face and create a lot more of a normal looking skin tone. And I tried to avoid the lips just now, but I just realized, screw it, I can just repaint the lips. Because of the underlying skin tone already being like kinda normal looking, like it creates a good foundation for the skin tone that I'm applying. And I want to go over the eyebrows too and kind of dull them down a little bit, because I don't really like when eyebrows are fully, you know, like solid, I guess. So like a thin layer of skin tone on top of the eyebrows usually helps blend them into the face a bit more, making them look more natural. I do want to try to avoid hitting the eyes though, because the eyes are pretty well painted. Okay, so it's time to paint the eyebrows, and I just kind of brought out my Last of Us 2 Ellie here for reference on how I painted the eyebrows back then, but it's kind of a different expression, so I figured it's not really going to help me that much. So what we're going to do is we're going to just do tiny little strokes, and almost kind of like we're almost just like catching the highlight of this sculpted brow. And then we're gonna reshape the eyebrows with some skin tone. But we just want to do a kind of subtle paint job for now. And the reason why we're not doing like a long line is because I don't really think that looks very realistic. I want it to look kind of thin, and I want every strand of hair to be, you know, like you can pick it out, so. And like here you see I obviously messed up, but like I said, we're gonna go in and fix that with some skin tone. This is just kind of like a start. And on this side she actually has a scar. And I think I'm gonna ignore the scar for now and then paint it in after the actual eyebrow is painted, because I can't really see where the scar is. Actually, I think that's where it is. So now, because we quite obviously messed up here, we're just gonna try to clean that up a little bit, make this less prominent. By just kind of dotting over the skin tone like this, you keep the brown color, but it just kind of, it's almost like it gets a little bit more translucent almost. Because I quite like how this side turned out, but this side is a little bit too strongly brown. Ooh, she's looking so good. So now I'm just gonna add this little scar here. Hopefully this paint is gonna be a good color. I think we need to move it, angle it a little bit more. The issue with paints like these is that they dry so stupidly fast that it's kind of hard to get some working time with them. And now we clean this up, make it a little bit thinner. Like you see, it's a little bit too thick here, so some skin tone. Okay, so freckles. So we're using some Reichland Flesh Shade again, but we're just gonna, like, dot it on. And it's kinda hard to do because it's not a solid paint, it's just I dip my brush in this wash and then I just, like, dot it on. Those are two prominent ones she has, then she has one down here. And then, oops. Then we just kinda dot some freckles on like this. Kinda wanna go for a subtle effect. So as we've painted the face, I've kinda gotten a little bit of skin tone around these parts here, so just gotta be careful and try to fill these in, make them a little bit less bright. I'm also not really a fan of this wash, it's a little bit too dark, I think. So maybe like if we gently dry brush almost the like the crevices, so we can make it a little bit more mild. This brown is also a little bit reddish, and Ellie in the game is quite often described as a redhead, which kind of threw me off, because I always thought she was a brunette, but you can kind of see it, especially in like the remaster. Oh yeah, fun fact, when I first got this figure, the ponytail actually just came straight off. Like, this joint in here just broke off because the joint was stuck, and the rubber itself just like broke, and I had to super glue it, so that wasn't very fun. So speaking of the hair, I kind of want to go the extra mile, so I mixed some of that brown with just like a little bit of red, and we're just gonna do a light dry brush. I don't want it to like overtake the entire hair color, but I just want it to be there, kind of, if that makes sense. Also, I couldn't find my good dry brush, so hopefully I won't get any on the face. And some precision painting here. And here is Ellie completed, and as you could tell from the start of this video, not everything turned out according to plan, but you know, that's fine, we adapt, and I am really happy with how she turned out, especially the face. I think she turned out absolutely beautiful. The paint job turned out so lifelike that I kind of surprised myself a little bit. Like, I know that sounds really pretentious and egotistic, but let me be proud of this, okay? So, yeah, the soft goods shirt really helps a lot with just the general aesthetics, and it does bunch like a little bit, and it's kind of hard to see the black like inner shirt that's supposed to show, but you know, I think that's a fine trade-off for getting rid of this horrific looking articulation. And then the legs are the same. Originally I did have the soft goods pants, but they just didn't really stretch as much as I wanted, and she would lose some articulation if I added them. There is one thing that kind of bothers me about this figure. Like, you see how the legs kind of go forward here? So she's kind of always, I don't know, like her feet are like shooting out. They don't really seem very natural. Like, it very much seems like the legs are more supposed to be like this. I don't know, but yeah, I can't really fix that because the leg is so curved forward. But other than that, yeah, this is Ellie. And I can put a backpack on too to show what she looks like. And here she is with a backpack on. It just looks so good. I'm so excited to have her like this. And at some point I'll finish up Joel as well. But for now, I'm super happy with Ellie. And yeah, this will be a future video. So thanks for watching and hope you enjoyed.
Okay, ready? It doesn't matter how much you push the envelope, it'll still be stationary. The book just fell on my head. I only have myself to blame. Or wait, I said it wrong. Hold on, let me read it again. A book just fell on my head. I only have my shelf to blame. I ruined it. People are making apocalypse jokes like there's no tomorrow. Too soon. That's it. That's all I got.